We've all been there, fired up with excitement, writing down our goals, visualizing the future we want. We promise ourselves this time will be different. This time we'll follow through. And for a while, it feels good. For a while, we're motivated. For a while, we make progress. But then life gets in the way. The spark fades. The momentum slows down. And before we know it, we're back where we started, frustrated, wondering why we can't seem to stick with it. The truth is, the problem isn't you. It's not that you're lazy. It's not that you're weak. It's not even that you don't want it badly enough. The real problem is the strategy. Because achieving your goals isn't about trying harder. It's about building smarter. It's not about chasing motivation. It's about building systems. Systems are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Goals give you direction, but systems create progress. Systems are what carry you forward when motivation disappears. Systems are what make success not just possible, but inevitable. Today, I want to show you exactly how to build those systems that actually work, systems that guarantee progress, systems that transform your goals from distant dreams into daily reality. Everyone talks about setting goals. We're told to dream big, to write down what we want, to visualize success. And there's nothing wrong with that. Goals are important. They give us direction. They give us a sense of purpose. A goal is like a destination on a map. It tells you where you want to go. But here's the truth, a destination is meaningless if you don't know how to get there. A dream without a path is nothing more than wishful thinking. Think about it. How many times have you set a goal, lose weight, start a business, read more books, only to find yourself in the exact same place months later? It's not because you didn't want it badly enough. It's not because you weren't capable. It's because wanting isn't enough. Desire isn't a strategy. Goals give you direction, but systems create progress. A system is the routine, the structure, the process you build that makes reaching that goal inevitable. It's not about asking yourself, what do I want to achieve? It's about asking, what kind of person do I need to become daily to achieve it? Let's take a simple example. If your goal is to get fit, the system isn't just lose 20 pounds. That's the outcome. The system is waking up at 6 a.m., putting your workout clothes next to your bed, showing up at the gym, and following a plan. The system is meal prepping every Sunday. The system is tracking your workouts so you can see progress over time. That's what creates change. The reason most people fail at their goals is because they focus too much on the end result and too little on the process. They get motivated by the vision of the finish line, but they don't prepare for the race. A goal without a system is like wanting to win a championship without ever practicing. The vision might inspire you, but only the system gets you there. The truth is, the system is often boring. It's repetitive. It's not glamorous. Nobody cheers you on for going to bed on time, drinking water, or writing for 30 minutes a day. But that's where progress is made, in the quiet, consistent habits that nobody sees. Every time you execute your system, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Here's the key difference. Goals are about results. Systems are about behaviors. A goal says, I want to write a book. A system says, I will write 500 words every day at 7 a.m. A goal says, I want to save money. A system says, I will automatically transfer 10% of my paycheck into savings the moment I get paid. When you shift your focus from goals to systems, something incredible happens. You stop waiting for the finish line to validate your efforts. You stop feeling like a failure every day until you hit the goal. Instead, you succeed every single day you run the system. You succeed every day you stick to the process. Progress becomes inevitable because the system is designed to create it. Think of the people who inspire you, the athletes, the leaders, the innovators. What separates them isn't that they had goals. Everyone has goals. What separates them is that they built systems that made progress unavoidable. The basketball player doesn't just dream of championships. He spends hours practicing free throws when nobody's watching. The musician doesn't just dream of an album. She practices scales and writes songs every single day. The system is what makes success predictable. It removes luck from the equation. With a goal, you hope to win. With a system, you guarantee progress. And here's the real power. When you focus on systems, you stop chasing success and start becoming the kind of person who attracts it. You stop saying, I'll be happy when I achieve my goal. And instead, You find fulfillment in the process because success isn't a destination, it's a system you live every day. We live in a world obsessed with intensity. Everywhere you look, people are telling you to work harder, hustle more, grind nonstop, and yes, intensity has its place. But intensity alone doesn't build greatness. The truth is, consistency beats intensity every single time. Why? Because intensity is temporary. It's a burst of energy, a rush of adrenaline, a short-lived moment of power. But consistency, that quiet, unglamorous commitment to showing up every single day, that's what builds momentum. That's what compounds into extraordinary results. Think about it this way: anyone can go to the gym and work out for 4 hours once. That's intensity. But if you don't go back for another 3 months, it means nothing. On the other hand, if you commit to 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week for years, the transformation is undeniable. Not because you went all out once, but because you never stopped showing up. Consistency isn't glamorous. It doesn't get applause. No one congratulates you for sticking to your morning routine, for journaling every night, or for saving a little bit of money each week. But that's exactly why consistency is so powerful. It's built quietly. It's invisible at first, but then one day you look back and realize just how far you've come, not because of one big effort, but because of hundreds of small ones stacked on top of each other. Here's the trap so many people fall into. They think motivation equals progress. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until everything lines up perfectly. And when they finally feel that spark, they go all in with intensity. But then life happens. The spark fades. The motivation disappears. And so does their progress. Consistency, however, doesn't depend on how you feel. It doesn't ask, am I motivated today? It simply asks, did I show up today? That's the difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck. The ones who succeed don't rely on intensity. They build systems that make consistency non-negotiable. Imagine 2 runners. The first one trains sporadically, sometimes pushing themselves to the limit, other times doing nothing at all. The second runner trains moderately but consistently, never missing a day. Who do you think is more prepared for the marathon? Not the one who went all out in a single session, but the one who showed up every single day, no matter how they felt. This is the same in every area of life. Business, health, relationships, personal growth. Success doesn't come from occasional bursts of effort. It comes from consistent habits that compound over time. The person who reads 10 pages a day will eventually read dozens of books. The person who saves a small percentage of their income every month will eventually build wealth. The person who practices their craft daily will eventually become a master. And here's the thing about consistency. It's not just about the outcome. It's about identity. Every time you follow through, you reinforce who you are. When you consistently go for that run, you become a runner. When you consistently write, you become a writer. When you consistently lead, you become a leader. Consistency shapes not just your results, but your sense of self. That's why it's more powerful than intensity. Intensity creates a moment. Consistency creates a lifestyle, and lifestyles determine destinies. But let's be honest, consistency is hard. It's boring. It's repetitive. It doesn't give you instant gratification. That's why most people quit. They chase the excitement of intensity, but they don't have the patience for consistency. The winners, however, embrace the boredom. They understand that greatness isn't built in excitement, it's built in repetition. Ask yourself, would you rather have a single burst of motivation or a system that ensures you make progress every day, no matter what? The answer is obvious. Progress doesn't care about your mood, it cares about your consistency. So if you want to achieve your goals, stop asking, how can I push harder today? And start asking, how can I make this sustainable every day? Don't design your life for intensity. Design it for consistency. Because intensity might get you started, but consistency will get you finished. Most people think success is about willpower. They believe the only reason they haven't achieved their goals is because they don't have enough discipline. But here's the truth: willpower is not reliable. It's a limited resource. It runs out. And if your entire system depends on you always being strong, always being disciplined, always saying no to temptation, you will fail. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. The real key isn't willpower, it's environment. Your environment is stronger than your motivation. It shapes your behavior without you even realizing it. If your environment makes the right choices easy and the wrong choice is hard, success becomes almost automatic. If your environment makes the wrong choices easy and the right ones difficult, failure becomes inevitable. Think about it. If you want to eat healthy, but your kitchen is filled with cookies, chips, and soda, how long do you think your willpower will last? Not long. But if your fridge is stocked with fruits, vegetables, and ready to eat healthy meals, then eating better requires no heroic effort. The environment does the heavy lifting. If you want to read more books, don't just rely on willpower to put down your phone. Put a book on your nightstand. Carry one in your bag. Make it easier to grab a book than to open a screen. If you want to exercise more, don't hide your running shoes in the closet. Put them where you see them first thing in the morning. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Small tweaks to your environment can have massive impact on your behavior. The problem is most people underestimate how much their surroundings control their actions. They assume success is about trying harder, but really it's about designing smarter. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your environment is the foundation of your system. Look at any highly successful person and you'll notice something. They intentionally design their surroundings to support their habits. Writers create distraction, free spaces where nothing exists but a desk, a chair, and a keyboard. Athletes surround themselves with coaches, teammates, and facilities that make training non-negotiable. Entrepreneurs build teams' calendars and routines that ensure their time is invested in the right places. None of this is an accident, it's by design. Your environment is not just physical, it's also social. The people you spend time with shape your behavior more than you realize. If you're surrounded by people who complain, procrastinate, and make excuses, you'll slowly do the same. If you surround yourself with people who push boundaries, take action, and stay disciplined, their energy will pull you upward. Systems aren't just built in silence, they're reinforced in community. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Is my environment designed for my goals, or is it working against me? If you're constantly fighting your surroundings, you will always feel like you're swimming upstream. But if you set up your environment to support you, progress feels natural. You don't have to force it, it flows. This is why small, intentional changes matter. Want to write more? Block distracting websites. Want to save money? Automate your savings so you never even see the cash to spend. Want to exercise? Join a gym close to home instead of across town. Don't make success harder than it needs to be. Here's the truth: you don't succeed because of your willpower. You succeed because of your design. Your life is perfectly designed for the results you're currently getting. If you don't like the results, don't blame yourself. Redesign your environment. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about being stronger than everyone else. It's about being smarter. It's about making the right thing the easy thing. It's about making the wrong thing almost impossible. When your environment is set up for victory, you don't have to keep pushing uphill. You simply let the system carry you forward. When most people set goals, they measure themselves against the outcome. They say, I'll be successful when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be successful when I make 6 figures. I'll be successful when I publish my book. But here's the problem: outcomes are not fully in your control. They depend on timing, circumstances, even luck. If you only measure yourself by outcomes, you're setting yourself up for constant disappointment. The truth is, the real power is in measuring actions, not outcomes, because actions are what you control. Actions are what build systems, and actions are what make outcomes inevitable over time. Let me explain. Imagine 2 people set the same goal to run a marathon. The first one focuses entirely on the outcome. Crossing the finish line, they obsess over the race. But when training gets tough, they feel like a failure because they aren't there yet. The second person focuses on the system, the action of running 4 days a week, gradually increasing distance. They track their actions, not the finish line. Who do you think is more likely to succeed? The one who focuses on what they can control. When you only measure outcomes, success feels far away. You run 5 miles today, and it feels insignificant compared to 26. You save 100 and it feels meaningless compared to 1,000,000. You write 2 pages and it feels like nothing compared to a full book. That's why people quit, because they measure the wrong thing. But when you measure actions, success happens daily. You don't need the finish line to feel progress. You just need to know you showed up for your system today. Did you run your miles? Did you write your pages? Did you save your money? That's progress. That's winning. And when you keep winning daily, the big results take care of themselves. This is why elite performers don't obsess over the scoreboard, they obsess over the play. A basketball team doesn't just stare at the score, they focus on executing each possession. A writer doesn't sit around waiting to celebrate the published book, they focus on writing their daily quota. A leader doesn't only think about quarterly profits, they focus on making the right decisions today. Outcomes are the byproduct of consistently measured actions. But here's the beautiful part: when you track actions, you build momentum. Each small win becomes fuel for the next. You start seeing yourself differently, not as someone chasing a faraway dream, but as someone who consistently shows up. Identity shifts. You become reliable to yourself. You start to believe, this is who I am. Bind belief is powerful. Because once you see yourself as the kind of person who takes consistent action, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking, should I do it today? You simply do it because that's what people like you do. Actions create identity. Identity sustains the system. Now, does that mean outcomes don't matter? Of course not. Outcomes give direction. They tell you where you're headed, but they are not the yardstick of daily success. Daily success is measured by the system, by the actions you complete. So here's the shift: stop asking, am I there yet? Start asking, did I execute today? Because if the answer is yes, you're winning. And if you keep winning today, the tomorrows will take care of themselves. Think about the greatest transformations in history: businesses, movements, athletes, artists. None of them achieved greatness in a single leap. It was action stacked on action, habit stacked on habit, system stacked on system. They didn't measure themselves by the end goal every day. They measured whether they showed up for the work. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Dreamers obsess over results. Doers obsess over actions. Dreamers wait for success to arrive. Doers create it, one action at a time. So if you want to achieve your goals, stop chasing the outcome. Focus on the process. Measure the actions. Because at the end of the day, it's not the finish line that defines you, it's the steps you took to get there. Motivation feels amazing. When you're motivated, everything seems possible. You feel unstoppable. You're ready to take on the world. But here's the problem: motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. If you build your success on motivation alone, you'll only move forward when you feel good. And success doesn't work like that. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Discipline says, even when I don't feel like it, I'll still show up. But even discipline has limits. You are human. You get tired. You get distracted. Life throws challenges your way. If you depend only on discipline, eventually there will be days when your willpower cracks. That's where systems come in. Systems outlast motivation. Systems outlast discipline. Systems make success inevitable because they don't depend on how you feel. They don't depend on how strong your willpower is in a single moment. They simply run, day after day, action after action. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it. You don't even need discipline. You just do it because it's part of your system. Imagine if your health, your finances, your relationships, your career, imagine if all of them ran on systems the same way brushing your teeth does. Imagine if success was just what happens automatically because your systems are designed that way. That's the difference between people who achieve their goals and people who don't. The ones who succeed don't rely on bursts of energy or heroic effort. They rely on systems. They design their lives in a way where progress is built in. They don't need to wake up every day and fight with themselves about whether or not to act. The system already made the decision for them. Think of it like this. Motivation is the spark, discipline is the firewood, but the system is the fireplace. Without the fireplace, the fire burns out quickly. With it, the fire keeps going for as long as it needs to. This is why the greatest performers in the world, athletes, leaders, innovators, don't live on motivation alone. They live on systems. The athlete doesn't wake up every morning motivated to train, but the system ensures they're on the track by 6 a.m. The entrepreneur doesn't rely on inspiration to manage their business, but the systems they've built keep the company running and growing. The writer doesn't wait for creativity to strike. Their system of writing every day ensures the book gets written. And here's the truth. Systems don't just help you succeed. They protect you from failure. Because when motivation fades and discipline wavers, your system carries you. It keeps you moving even on the hardest days. It gives you structure when everything else feels uncertain. It keeps you aligned when distractions pull at you from every direction. Ask yourself, what's the difference between someone who achieves their goal and someone who gives up halfway? It's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's systems. The achiever designed their life so progress was built into the routine. The quitter tried to rely on motivation, and when it disappeared, so did their progress. That's the beauty of systems. They don't care about your mood, your excuses, or your circumstances. They work whether you feel like it or not. They turn success from something you chase into something you live. So if you want to make sure your goals aren't just dreams on paper, stop relying on motivation. Stop relying on sheer willpower. Build systems that make success automatic. Because at the end of the day, it's not the strongest or the smartest who succeed. It's the ones who build systems that carry them through every season of life. At the end of the day, success is not about intensity, luck, or willpower. Success is about systems. Systems that keep you moving forward no matter what. Systems that make the right choices automatic and the wrong ones difficult. Systems that measure actions, not outcomes, and reward you for showing up every day. Systems that outlast the highs of motivation and the strain of discipline. You don't have to fight your way to success. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment. You don't have to depend on bursts of inspiration. You just need to design a life where progress is built in. Because when you live by systems, success stops being a question of if and becomes only a question of when. Your goals don't have to remain distant. They don't have to fade into the background of broken promises and unfinished plans. With the right systems, every single day becomes a step toward who you're meant to be. So don't just dream bigger, build smarter. Don't just set goals, build systems. Because the systems you create today will decide the life you live tomorrow.